This is Richard back at you guys. We got Cody at the camera for the first or second time maybe with me. Not for sure, but I don't remember neither. But anyway, we got John's 68 Camaro in the house. He had some work being done on it and he went to go pick it up, and next thing you know it just slowly quit moving forwards and backwards. Now I don't know the history on it or anything like that, but we got to checking into some things. When we pulled it out, Cody noticed that the torque converter was locked down and stuff like that, and there wasn't no room for the torque converter in between the flywheel. The torque converter was smashed all the way up against the flywheel, so you couldn't even put no washers to adjust it or anything like that. So we got to looking at the torque converter, and we noticed that the torque converter was physically too long, probably about 1/8 of an inch or so too long. And what I believe is they should have had a mid plate in between the transmission and the motor. A mid plate is a piece of aluminum or stainless. There's a plate that goes between the tranny and the motor. It has some ears over here on both sides, and you can hook the two ears to the frame on the car. That way it kind of gives you mounts here, and then you have your existing motor mounts here. So it stabilizes it all the way around. But if you don't put that plate back in there, when you have a thicker torque converter, next thing you know, when you tighten the bell housing down, it smashes it and it physically breaks the pump inside. So, but what we're going to do, we're going to take it apart and see what's going on first. Now, we already did the measurements on the converter and stuff. We noticed that it is too long, so we let the converter company take it back, and they're going to correct that real quick. So, but anyway, it's got a scatter shield on it already. Now, this plate here keeps the internal components in the tranny from blowing up, coming through the floorboard of the vehicle, and kissing the driver. There you go. We've seen drive shafts come through the floorboard. We've seen direct drums come through the floorboard. Now, being that this is a stock case, he has to have some type of protection here. Now, you notice we do have an ear broke off here. Now, we're going to get in here and we can weld this back up and clean this up and put a new ear right there, since it just didn't wipe the whole case out. Get these loose here. Oops. And this pretty much is what that looks like. Bolts on in multiple areas, but being a stock case, it's pretty thin through here. These are bad about cracking right through here. If you have any type of driveline vibrations or anything like that, you can run into trouble. Now we're basically looking for any type of material down in here. See what type of build it was to start with. Bushing looks pretty gone, just about, pretty scuffed up. Now we do have a stock rear case support here. He's wanting me to try to get the speedometer working. So he does have a stock planetary gear here. We can put a gear right here for the speedometer, so that's what's good about this. He will be able to get his speedometer working. But this, you can tell here, it used to have a governor right here. It used to have a pump back here where the pin used to be that turned the pump gears, but they changed the support to a non-gear style. These Powerglides back in the day, you could physically push start them. So you could push it about 30-40 miles an hour with the drive shaft turning. It turns this pump here. You can put it in drive, boom, it starts turning over the motor, and next thing you know, the motor starts. So that was pretty neat about them. Now we just have a stock servo cover here. Like I said, I believe he just bought the car, so I don't think he knows a whole lot about it. Come on, get out of there. Come on. Stuck in there pretty good. So I don't know how much history he knows on the car. For it to have that converter in there, it's almost like they just put the converter in there. Normally this just comes out real simple. I mean, there's really usually no issue getting it out unless the seal is starting to get really hard or something. Well, we got a dual ring servo. That's good. That's a plus right there. Gonna get the ground wire off right here for the trans brake solenoid. Get this unscrewed. Anytime you push the trans brake button, it pushes this in right here, pushes a valve here and brings the clutch on in the back of the case. Basically puts it in 2 gears at once. See if I can get this valve out right here. There we go. They make multiple style valves, depending on the valve body. Some of them will have a spring, some won't have a spring. Like I say, it matches the valve body, so you gotta be careful swapping parts. Woo! We got some metal flake in the pan here, guys. Like I said, this was going on before he probably bought the car, or they did training swap, and we really don't know much about the unit except we have a band strut laying in there. But just full of metal. Look at that. That'll be a good cover photo right there for sure. Now, since this has a deep pan on, it's going to have an extension. It's going to have a gasket on this side of the extension and a gasket on that side of the extension. Filtered brass. Clean that up. So use that. And this is what I call, it's our slide linkage, I guess you could call it. This here slides through here, keeps your manual valve locked in. That way it can't come out. There's no pin, there's no nail, anything to keep it from moving. So if you take this off like this, now it moves out of the manual valve, see, and falls out. So that's all that does, is just keep that in that groove right there. So when you move it back and forth, it stays in there. Once you take it off, boom, it falls out. Pretty simple. Now we have our detent spring and lever right here. Click, click, click. Very simple. Of course, we got 8 valve body bolts, or 7 valve body bolts, excuse me, to get the valve body off. All the same lengths pretty much, except your little shorty right here. Pull this tube out right here, pull this out. Look at just all the metal. What's good about this, and I don't believe it has valve body gaskets. We can get in here. It looks like it's been beat up a little bit through there. Kind of like some hammer marks or something through there. See that? Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and take it apart. Now you do have 2 guide bolts through here. Start these first, or 2 first. That way it lines everything up before you put your other ones in. Snug them, then come in here and start from the middle and work your way out. What I like about this unit, no gaskets. But where I was looking at that, where I seen that, looked like it's beat up with a hammer. Wipe this off real quick and see. I know I've seen something funny going on here for just a second. Might not be something major, but I still want to see what we're seeing. Okay, right there. See that right there? Kind of weird. But anyway, you want to look through here. These don't have no check balls or anything in them. You can pretty much clean them up, make sure the valves work good. Make sure you press the regulator valves free, clean everything up. Put it back together, torque it to specs. Good to go. Of course, here we have our park linkage here. Get it off the table. There we go. I still can't make it turn. There we go. Locks it into park. Pretty simple. This funny little spring here. And we have our other band strut here. Take our band adjustment nut loose right here. Now, once we got it together and we're setting our band, we usually set them about 3.5 to 4 thousandths, or 4 turns, excuse me. 4 thousandths sounding better, but about 3.5 to 4 turns. Tighten it down, snug, and then back it off. Now you can buy an aftermarket hardened one of these shafts here too. Some of these will come in bent. You can see your low reverse clutch right here. If you blew air right in here, this piston would come on. So it's full of fluid right now, and I don't want to do that. So Teresa's not here. We could soak Cody. Is that okay, Cody?
Not today.
Not today. Hopefully we got the last winter snowstorm of the year today and tomorrow, and hopefully it's gone forever, or at least for a few days. Because we're just tired of cold weather right now.
Next week it'll be back in the 30s again.
Is it really? I'm tired of winter. Tired of weather. You want to look down in here and look for any type of sealing ring wear. These 2 sealing rings right here. Now this is just a factory steel ring. We're going to go with a Teflon ring here, high pressure ring. Get this thing back to where it needs to be. Of course, you have a selective thrust washer here to set your clearance. And of course, somebody's already been into it, looks like here. That's the silicone on there. Well, let's get in here and look at this pump. That's what everybody's been waiting for. I hate to see Powerglide pumps messed up because they are getting hard to find. Hard to find. And of course, here we go. Look how it just grinded that up right there. Anytime you misstab them or get too big of a converter, the converter comes in this way and pushes on these lugs and shoves that gear backwards like that towards the back of the tranny and just grinds it up. Once it grinds it between your suction and your pressure, you just lose all movement forwards and backwards because your pressure just comes to a complete halt. So look at this, see if we can save anything at all. Yeah, it's got some big old ruts in it right through here. So we're definitely going to be finding a pump for this thing so far. And of course that's the hardest thing to find for these anymore unless you buy brand new ones. But I think we've got probably 5 or 6 cores left, don't we, Cody? I think back there we can tear down.
I believe so.
Got some high pressure rings here still. Like I say, once you damage the pump pumps all the trash, all the metal through everywhere, all through your sealing rings, your seals, everything. This whole tranny will have to come apart, be cleaned thoroughly out. Big old right there, huh, Cody? It's amazing how much damage people can cause.
That's a good
Yeah.
1/8 of an inch.
Mm-hmm. Same way here with this band. I mean, the band's already falling apart. This band is one dinosaur. It is old. Because this tranny didn't last that long to put that type of wear on this band. So, that's for sure. Anytime you do that there, they quit around the block pretty much, and that's what this unit did. Now, it's just got a stock planetary in it. So, gonna have the really small sun gear. Want to look on both sides for any type of chipping, metal grinding through the gears where it's been running over it. We got our hub here. Now this is an aftermarket hardened hub. We've got a 5-clutch high gear. Now we are going to try to get as many in here as we possibly can. 5 to me ain't going to cut it. Anything, 6, 7, 800 horsepower like this thing has, we definitely need more than 5 clutches in high gear. So we can change our piston out right here, get some more in there that way, go with thin steels, thin clutches, and stuff like that. We want at 80 grit this drum up really nice. Come in here and Scotch-Brite these shiny off. There's no ruts or anything, but you can just see where the sealing ring's been running. So you can't feel it, but go in and Scotch-Brite that up. That way your new pressure ring has somewhere to run. New bushing, stuff like that. And we have a little bearing right down in here. Sets down in there like that, on top of the sun gear. Of course, we have our outer ring gear for our lower planet. And then we have our planetary. Okay, just want to check it everywhere. Scotch-Brite any place where a bushing is going to run here and here. I mean, that's got a pretty good rut right here too. We might have to put a planetary in this thing. So, like I say, this tranny's had a pretty rough life, I believe. And of course, we got a 5-clutch here. Now you can see how the center clutch is already starting to burn, because 5 clutches just ain't enough for a trans brake. 6 or 7 at minimum you want to get in here and you start using a trans brake. Especially if you're a turbo car bumping in or something like that, you want a ton in here. So, well guys, don't look too bad. We'll get the old case cleaned up, welded up, and see if we can find another Powerglide pump. Cody, want to thank you for recording. Definitely, we appreciate that. Guys, don't forget to subscribe. Push the notification bell. That's really critical. That way you get a notice when anytime we post another video, and we're trying to do that daily. So, y'all have a great day.